What's going on, Dave?
Can you hear me all right?
I got you, bro. What the
Nice.
hell is going on, bro? How often do you get that one, right?
Pretty much everywhere I go.
So I'm
Yeah.
not the first one to do that.
No, no. It's kind of become my calling card, I guess you could say.
What's going on today, man? How you feeling?
Good, good. Busy day, but all good, man. I'm fired. Look, I'm a Chiefs fan, so I'm fired up for this week.
I saw that you're repping, and you actually did news out there, right, for a while.
Yeah, I transferred within our company, had the opportunity, try something new. My wife and I were both like, Kansas City, huh? Neither one of us had ever even been there. So we're like, why don't we have like a little midlife adventure? And we ended up going there for 3 years and it was great. We had a great time. We loved our time there.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, I'm sure you do as well in Vegas. I mean, who doesn't?
Oh yeah.
As long as you
Yeah.
got a right head on your shoulders, as we see on the news all the
Right.
time. And thanks for making the news fun. You guys are awesome over there.
Oh, thanks. We try. We got to get up every morning too and do it. So, if it would be really hard to do that shift as long as I've done it if we didn't get to do the show the way we do it. You know what I mean? So it's beneficial on our end as well to make it as fun as we can.
Yeah, you guys do a great job. You guys were killing us. Me and the wife were getting ready to take the kid to school, get ready for work and whatnot. And you guys are going on what the hall, as a matter of fact, about Home Depot aisle shopping for dates and where to
Oh,
find a specific date, what aisle
yeah.
to go down. And I'm like, they're gonna hit this one real hard. This is gonna be rough, because there's so many different aisles you could go down. I'm like, oh, I was just
Yeah.
for it, bracing for impact.
The,
But you
yeah, the
guys are
hard
hysterical.
yeah, the hard part with those are, being funny, like approaching the line without crossing the line, and our line is probably a little tighter than, most people's lines being that we're on, morning news and there's a lot of kids who happen to be watching. But, you still want it to be funny and edgy. So, sometimes you got to be a little careful on those for sure. That could
Yeah,
have
you
went a
guys
lot
do
of
a great
places.
job. Do a great job of it, man. You guys got us cracking up. So, what got you into news all the way from where you started to now here in Vegas? I mean, you were talking
Yeah.
about the morning news. The local Vegas news team is excellent. What got your start into wanting to be a broadcaster?
Actually, kind of back in high school, I grew up like a lot of people. I played high school sports and I loved sports and loved everything about it. And, by the time you're 17, 18, you realize, yeah, I'm probably not going to be a professional athlete. So what else could I do kind of around the world of sports? And so I went to college to be a sports journalist. And originally I wanted to do some sports writing. This is up in Reno. I went to college up at University of Nevada. I actually went to UNLV and Nevada. Go figure. And one of my professors up there, he's like, "Well, you should look into the broadcasting school." And I'm like, really? I'm like, why that? Why is that? He's like, well, you kind of got the look, and it's also a lot more money. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that is like ding, ding, ding. That got my, for a 19, 20-year-old kid, living on spam and hot dogs. I was like, hey, more money, sign me up. So that kind of started me on my career. So I transferred into broadcast TV, and my first TV job was actually in Reno, working for the NBC affiliate there. Just in fact, my very first job was putting tapes in decks and hitting play, and that was the video people would see on TV. That job doesn't even exist anymore. In fact, tape doesn't even exist anymore in TV news. It's all digital. And so literally my first TV job doesn't even exist anymore. That's how long I've been around. So anyway, after about 5 years in Reno, I made the transition to Vegas, and I moved here in 2001. And other than my 3 year stint in Kansas City, I've been here the whole time ever since.
It's a great, great city, man. And you mentioned sports, journalism. That's something that I've done a lot for the sport of boxing, and with the
Yeah.
podcast now branching out to a variety show of film and music and movies. And I'm a musician by trade and stuff like that. Sports. I know you're a big football guy, and I want
Yeah.
to unpack the Super Bowl in a little bit. But what other sports are you into outside of football?
You know what? It's funny. My daughter, who's a high school here in town, she's playing a lot of softball right now. and flag football. So I'm basically her unpaid Uber driver. So I love, my favorite sport's watching my daughter play. She plays travel ball now as well. So we had a tournament last weekend. We got another one these. So I'm in that cycle. I'm that dad now. But I like anything that's got high drama. I mean, you mentioned boxing. I love my favorite live sporting event of all time is boxing. There's not even a close second. Yes, that's right. Because I did sports for Fox 5 from about '01 through '06. And so, back then we still got a decent amount of big fights, a lot of De La Hoya fights, Floyd Mayweather fights, Evander Holyfield fights, the Klitschko brothers, to MGM Grand, Mandalay Bay, those places. I missed out on the Mike Tyson era, which bums me out because everybody I talked to always said that the Mike Tyson ring walk was the most electric thing they've ever experienced live. Just that man walking up to the ring. But boxing was awesome.
They said that fighters would lose the fight in the dressing room to face Mike Tyson because they were so scared. They were like literally shitting their pants.
Yeah.
Mike would come out with that white little cutoff towel with a V-neck, no socks on, those boxing shoes, come out all intimidating, ready to go, wouldn't even look at you, and then come up in there and stare you dead in the eyes. Man, Mike Tyson was something else back then. Customato. I like boxing just a little bit in case you could tell. But, back then, I mean, he was just something else, a combination, a hybrid of power, speed, and technique. Oh, my goodness, don't get me started.
Yeah.
But,
so bummed I never got to see it
out here in Vegas for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Missed out on Tyson, but still, I got to see some great De La Hoya fights. As you know, the best part of these fights is when you've got like the Mexican fighter against the Puerto Rican fighter or the Dominican fighter, and literally the arena is cut in half and both sides are going crazy the entire time. And it was so much fun. I miss the big fight nights in Las Vegas because we have so few of them now. It's really sad that it's dried up to the point that it has.
Yes, the sport, that's a whole nother conversation. You know about it. You're behind the scenes. I'm behind the scenes. And, you catch a lot of things. I mean, I just try to stay with the essence and the beauty of it and love it for what it is. People always ask me about the politics of that sport. I'm like, listen, don't even bother. Here's a good fight. Let's just hope for the best. Same thing with UFC and all that. But, you do a great job covering all that. You mentioned that you're a family guy, as your favorite sport is watching your daughter. That's a great answer. What about pets? Do you have any pets?
Yeah, I've got a little dog running around here somewhere. A little mutt, a little rescue dog that we, in fact, my wife bought her Amazon, man, freaking Amazon. It's going to be the death of me. All of a sudden, a doggy Kansas City Chiefs dog hoodie thing showed up. So, yeah. So she bought that for her. So our dog is also a Chiefs fan, apparently.
Well, I tell you what, our dog is highly celebrated. As you know, and people see on Fox News, little Polly Princess made the Feinberg Files. And, she's definitely, we got all stuff decked out for her all over the house. I get paintings done of her, cartoons done, framed, everything. Like, she's my little princess, rescue Chihuahua.
Oh, nice.
Well, and we definitely encourage that. You guys do a great thing on the news about pet rescues. And that's a wonderful thing. So people definitely keep an eye on Fox for that, and on your website too as well, right?
Yeah, we do a weekly segment called Pet Pals where somebody from the Humane Society comes on and they'll have a weekly dog and, talk about the dog and also just talk about the general need for people to foster or, adopt these animals because there's so many and it's so sad. And, a lot of times it's people who can't afford the dog anymore or just don't want to take care of the dog anymore. And so they just drop them off. And if they're not adopted or fostered, they're eventually euthanized, which is just horrific. Absolutely. So yeah, anybody watching this, if you need a new family friend, man, please look into that.
Please do. Please do. In terms of other interests, I know you like to go outdoors a lot. What are some of the places you frequent out here? I'm sure I know of them, but for people listening.
Yeah, I'm a big hiker. I love to go hiking. I've hiked up the summit of Charleston a bunch of times. Actually, last year, I hiked. The number one thing on my bucket list was to hike Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, and I finally did that last June.
You blessed the rains down in Africa?
I did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's something I'd wanted to do for like 10 years, and talked about it and talked about it, and I was turning 50 last year. So I was like, you know what, this is the year to do it. Kind of a middle finger to father time kind of thing, and just I guess prove to myself that you know what, I may be getting up there in age, but I can still get crap done. I can still get shit done. And so, yeah, booked a trip. Actually, my buddies were all supposed to go with me, and they all dropped out for one reason or another. So I ended up going by myself. Hopped on a plane, about a 28-hour flight with connections and everything to Tanzania, Africa. The next day, slipping on some hiking boots and started a week-long hike up to Mount Kilimanjaro, 19,341 feet, every damn step.
This is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, you blessed the rains down in Africa.
Yeah.
This is what was that? I mean, obviously, words cannot put this, into
Mm-hmm.
perspective and let someone know what that's like. But I mean, getting there, like what was the first thing that went through your mind? I guess that's the best question here.
Yeah. I, I guess it was just the anticipation. You're a little nervous as you're getting, I was part of a group, and there was four Americans, a guy from England, and four people from France. So there was a good group of us. And, you've got that nervous energy, kind of like a boxer before a fight, like, okay, and then, once you start, you're just kind of taking in the scenery. Like the first day you're walking through rainforest, and it was raining, and there was monkeys swinging from tree to tree, and it was everything you think Africa would look like. And then, day by day, you're just going higher and higher and higher. And you can't even see the peak because, it's hidden behind clouds and everything. And by, I think, night two, we were already sleeping above the cloud deck. So I could open up my tent window and clouds would be floating by. And so it was a reminder of just how high we are and how much higher we still had to go. But I think a lot of it was just kind of like and not like a religious spiritual thing, but it was very spiritual, and it was something that I'd always wanted to do. And it's when you're up there, it's very quiet. There's no planes, there's no traffic noise. The only thing you hear when you're on the trail are the shuffling of feet, kicking rocks, and maybe some conversation. So it was just a week of really kind of self-reflection, and then when you finish, of course, when you're up at the top, it's pretty emotional. It's an incredible sense of pride, and you just can't believe that you're there after thinking about that moment for so long, and you're looking out on the African plains, and you can see what felt like forever. Yeah, it was one of those moments I'll take with me to the day I die.
Man, I mean, how many people could say honestly that's an overused expression? How many people could say they've done that? Well, a lot.
Yeah.
Not so much. It's not like
No.
one of those things. It's
Yeah.
like you just have to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. I think they said something like maybe 20,000 people a year, which sounds like a lot, but on a planet with 8 billion people,
Right. On the larger
it's a,
scale of things,
it's a
absolutely.
percent of a percent of a percent. It's a small group for sure. Yeah.
We mentioned music. What kind of music are you into
Well,
overall?
it's funny you ask. My daughter is also into music, so she plays guitar, and she's been playing and performing and stuff for a few years now. So, I'm an '80s kid, so I grew
Yes.
up with, I grew up with hair rock. I still love Hair Nation on Sirius XM. That's one of my presets. And transitioning into the Seattle grunge rock phase and all that. So I love all that. Listen to that to this day. And thanks to my daughter, she keeps me connected to the younger music. And so I guess I probably have more of appreciation for this generation of music than I otherwise would have, because I'd be the guy who's like, oh, this crap these kids listen to. But when you listen to it, and I guess you develop more of appreciation for some of it. Some of it is crap, of course, but some of it's pretty good too when you give it a chance. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I've been around the block with music a long time. I'm 44. I've been playing drums. actively since 13. Long story short, teach out here. Been teaching a long time. Do
Hmm.
about 60 lessons a week. Love it. High energy, just like boxing, which I do a lot of. But the
Yeah.
thing is, music education really important for people, not just because I do it for a living, but it's excellent for your daughter. I'm sure she's very
Hmm.
intelligent. You have to be to play music. Guitar. What kind of style does she play?
She does acoustic. She also has an electric.
That's excellent, man. And you
Yeah.
mentioned electric 80s. I mean, for me, like Rush, Toto, every show when I talk about music, Zeppelin, of course, 70s, classic rock guy, jazz, funk.
Hmm.
You guys are great with the Moore Show. You have such a great variety of guests on there.
Oh,
Um,
thanks.
for film and music.
I'll give Feinberg a lot of credit for that because we're kind of all of the same relatively close age bracket. So he's a big fan of that classic rock and that era of rock. So I think he pushes that towards the producers.
Right. That's excellent. And it's great for us, watchers, viewers out there that are, in that category of age, but it's all coming back now a little bit. People are starting to find appreciation for this stuff again.
For sure. Like my daughter, she's a big fan of Stranger Things on Netflix,
Right.
which is an 80s based theme, and they play all 80s music. So she's kind of started to tap into that just from that show. And so she loves some of those 80s songs, and she's actually learned a few of them to play them. And so, yeah, it is cool to see kids, and it was a great era. It really was. So it's fun to see the younger generation appreciating what we grew up with, instead of just like the old, hey, that's the old crap. We have no interest in that.
Absolutely, man. I tell you what I do have interest in is humor,
Hmm.
jokes, right? You guys, again, are super funny. Now,
Thank you.
your What the Hall segment is really, really funny. First of all, the inception of that, where'd that come from? And I'm sure you do a lot of the writing. Who helps you? And do you scout all this material? How does this all come together?
Yeah, well, it's funny. It actually started when I was working in Kansas City. We were putting together a lifestyle show there, and my boss was like, he was a big fan of the Daily Show, and he's like, can we do something like that on a much smaller level? Obviously, just like funny stuff. And so I was like, sure, I'd love to. It's right in my wheelhouse. And so then we tried to think of a name of it, and it was actually one of my producer's mom who came up with the name What the Hall. Obviously a
Great
play
name.
off of obviously a play of What the Hell in my name, because that's kind of what the hell, what are these people doing? What the hell is this? And so it fit perfectly. And so I brought it with me here to Vegas when I moved back. And yeah, I'm the one who does it. I do it all myself. I find the stories, I write the stories, um, I, I produce it out. And everybody at the station now knows the kind of stories I'm looking for, so they'll help me out and send me story ideas as well. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's my 2 minutes of just kind of having fun, showing people the ridiculous things happening out in the world, and just getting people to laugh a little bit. Because even though our show is more lighthearted and we try to have fun, we do have to, serve up the heavy news as well. And that can be pretty hard a lot of days. So this is my chance to just kind of get rid of all that for a couple minutes and just have fun. And it always amazes me how many kids like that segment. I'm just like,
True.
and I'm
True.
surprised how many kids are watching the news because, all the data we get, nobody under 20 watches TV news anymore. And, they're probably just watching that with their parents or whatever. But I've had so many kids come up to me and be like, What the Hall? We love What the Hall. So I have to keep that in mind, like in terms of what I put in the segment. There are maybe some more risque topics that I avoid, knowing that, oh yeah, there's a lot of little kids who are watching this right now. So I got to be a little more
Yeah,
careful
I
than.
was going to say that search history could, end up being pretty dicey, I'm sure. but you
No,
know,
but it's funny. It's become, like I said earlier, it's become my calling card. I hear it literally everywhere I go, and I love it because it means people are watching, and it means people like it, and it's resonating. And those are three things that we want and we need for TV news and to keep our little business alive.
oh, it's excellent, man. Who came up with the theme song?
That would probably have been somebody in promotions.
Yeah.
'Cause they're the ones who build the opens and
It's
everything.
perfect. It's got like this kind of circus thing
Right.
happening. Like it's got
Yeah.
great. I'm always listening to music. I can't help it.
So see, so you got the ear for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
always listening. All
Yeah.
right, so here we go. Super Bowl coming up. Uh, big party. Who do you got? Obviously.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to go with the Chiefs, number one because they're my team. But yeah, I mean, when you look at Patrick Mahomes and how focused and dedicated, I mean, that guy, he is so driven. I just would not bet against him. I know they got a lot of receivers hurt, which is a little scary, but I just don't think it matters with him. And look, the Eagles are great; they've had a great season, but who have they beat? I mean, they've played a lot of easy teams, a lot of bad quarterbacks the last 2 to 3 months.
They treated them rough too. The Eagles played with a lot of, force, man. Like the last couple of games, I was like, dang. Remember that movie Unnecessary Roughness? Like Holyfield comes out of, like they're playing
Yeah,
in prison. I
yeah,
was like, man, the very first couple of minutes of that game, the last one the Eagles play, I was like, whoa, dude, slow down.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it should be an interesting one.
yeah. No, it'll be great. It's airing on Fox 5. Shameless plug there.
Of course.
And we've actually our sports team is going to head out to Phoenix this week, so we'll have live reports from Phoenix later
Oh,
this
wow.
week. So that'll be fun. So it's just from the news side of things, it's a fun thing to cover. And when your team's in it, it's that much more fun. And I like to do a little sports gambling as well. I'm no Feinberg, no Jason Feinberg on that front, but I like to make a few bets here and there as well. So that'll be fun as well. What about you?
I'm with you. I got Kansas City, and I'm just gonna chill, watch the game with the family, do the usual, keep it home, local. Couple drinks, enjoy the game. My team's the Giants. Hey, we overachieved this year.
Hey.
So I'm here just to watch the football, not
Mm-hmm.
overanalyze. I can actually enjoy it. Like sometimes I can get relieved too. Like with the Yankees, they do it to me every year in baseball. They
Oh,
get to the promised land. They play with my emotions. They play with my feels. I'm like, I'm not going to do it this year. I do it to myself. I get all crazy. Sometimes the family won't even watch this with me because I just don't shut up. I pace the whole house. I get crazy. And I don't even have money on it. And the thing is, like, when they're not in it, I'm like, damn, that sucks. But I get to enjoy baseball.
right.
It's like, so I
Yeah.
get to enjoy football with this one. But I think it's a great matchup. I think obviously they're here for a reason. So you play it
Mm-hmm.
out, and it's a holiday. What do they say? It's the most called out day the day after, right?
The Monday after, yeah. And we're right in the middle of February ratings, so we're not allowed to take time off.
Oh,
So every year, every Super Bowl, we'll go to a Super Bowl party like we are this Sunday, going to go to a Super Bowl party at my buddy's house.
yeah.
And everybody's, having the time of their lives. And, as soon as the game ends, I'm like, well, guys, I got to go. And
Oh no.
I got to work at 2:45 in the morning. So
That's what time you get up. I always wondered what time you guys get up because
I
I
get
think
up at
early.
2. I get up at 2. I'm in by 2:45 because of what the hall, because I have to find the stories, produce it out, write it, and that takes me about an hour and 15 minutes to do all that. And then I go on the air at 4:30. So yeah, so I'm like finding that crap at 3 in the morning, just so people know.
Wow. No kidding, man. So obviously you do the first portion of the news in the morning. Sometimes I've caught you on there like later. You've done like doubles after doing all that.
Yeah, whenever Jason Feinberg's off, I'll fill in for him, or if
Wow.
I'm off, he'll fill in for me. So yeah, it makes for a long day. We'll be on the anchor desk for 5 or 6 hours straight.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just sitting there. It's not like it's physically challenging, but it does get mentally draining, because you do need to be locked in and focused. And so it does drain the battery after being on the desk for 4 or 5 hours straight.
You
But
guys keep it together well though, because I mean, I know there's times just like in life where everyone goes out for holidays or they go out and they're celebrating, like the World Series is on, a big boxing match is on. The next day at work, half the people there are still half in the bag.
oh God,
More. Like,
yeah,
it's like we've all done it. Like I've gone to
Mhm.
work a couple times, man. Like I'm like, oh no, you know,
Yeah.
like jeez, all the smoothies, bananas, coffee, ain't shit on this earth gonna save my life. I go to my wife, I'm like, help me. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, ah. She's like, what time did you go to bed? I was like, I got no answers. You know, and it's like you got to put it back together and figure it out somehow. But when you get older, you know how to do it better.
Well, and you know better, and you know not to do it in the first place.
Yeah.
When you're younger, you can get away with that crap, but when you hit my age, it's like you want to be in bed. I mean, even on the weekends by like 9 o'clock, I'm usually out unless there's a big game on or we're out doing something. But if I'm just home chilling by 9 o'clock, man, I'm usually done.
I don't blame you, man. That's how you keep it together. That's how people age well, mentally, physically, all that kind of good stuff, man. So, for people listening out there, my listeners, your followers, your listeners, people
Mhm.
that don't know where to follow you on social media, where could they follow you?
On Twitter, my account is at Hall Fox 5, and that's probably the account I'm most active on. I don't do a lot of. I'm on Facebook. I don't do a lot of Facebooking anymore, and I'm on Instagram as well, but I don't remember what it is.
Let me go back to this real quick. Spam, you had mentioned. I don't believe I've ever had it. I don't know if my wife's in the other room. Can you hear me, babe? Have I had spam? I think I've spoken to her about this. I don't think I've ever had spam. Wait, that's the fake ham, right? It's just water and ham.
Yeah, it's the one that comes in the can, and you peel the lid back, and it's like
Yeah,
this.
I know what it is, but is that real? Like, what is that? What the hell is that?
I don't think we want to know what the actual ingredients are. I just, growing up, my grandma used to always feed her grandkids spam. Like when it was lunchtime, we'd have spam sandwiches and chips and Pepsi. Like that was just like the standard lunch back then. I, I haven't had spam in a long time. It's now that we're talking about it, I'm kind of curious. Now I want to try it again.
It's one of those things I am curious about. Like, I always look at one of those foods where it's like I kind of want to try it, but I don't. But I want to know what that's like. You know,
Hmm.
and people use it for like I think fried rice. They use it in. They use it in a lot of different things
Yeah.
for cooking. I'm big into cooking. I've never used spam for anything. You know, I mean, I know what the jar looks like. I've seen it. I'm like, but I never really understood. People are obsessed with this thing.
Valentine's Day is next week. You could impress the wife. Throw in some spam in a skillet, little red wine.
That's it, though, right?
Let the
Just like
magic happen.
just like a hard plate of spam with some wine, something to
Right?
complement it too. It's got to have like a little, not like necessarily like a flower, but something. There needs to be like some kind of object next to the plate to make it just right. I'll figure that out. Oh,
Yeah.
that works out
Yeah.
for you.
Have
But
you uh have you ever had Rocky Mountain oysters?
no,
Do
hmm,
you know what those are?
no.
Cow balls.
What?
Yeah.
Cow balls?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So what they do is, well, they remove said balls from cow and they slice them and then they fry them up. It's quite the delicacy in some parts of the country, from what I hear. I tried them one time. I was in Denver covering the Mountain West basketball tournament. They had the tournament in Denver for a couple years, and so we were there and went to a restaurant, and they offered up Rocky Mountain oysters. So I'm like, "What the hell? Let's try them." Yeah, they weren't great.
They didn't warn you? Like, I mean, to me, an oyster is an oyster. Rocky Mountain is Rocky Balls oyster. They
No, I
didn't
knew.
give you a heads up?
No, I knew. No, I knew. I took it
Ooh,
like a challenge. It was like my Kilimanjaro before Kilimanjaro. It was
killing
so.
these nuts, bro.
Yeah, they were quite chewy. Yeah, that would be the
Oh
word.
man.
Yeah,
I
which
was gonna
when
I
you know
was
what
gonna
they are and they chew and that's the texture. Yeah, it makes it tough.
I was gonna go there, about food, and this is a whole next level thing. Maybe next time we could talk about it. But The weirdest thing, I don't even know. I guess I think at some place where I used to box in this community somewhere and I think it was North Jersey. They had a lot of Portuguese eateries, and I think I might have had cow's tongue or some shit. Someone told me that it wasn't chicken I heard something about a tongue and a cow, so I'm pretty certain it was probably that.
Yeah,
That wasn't on purpose. Like
gotcha,
I don't know
gotcha.
what the hell happened there. Like I was just like, just get me something that's good, and someone ordered me that shit.
It's
So be
probably
careful with that.
it might have been
Might eat some
spam.
balls. I
It
could
might
have
have
been.
been spam.
It could have been that or in cow balls too. It could have been. I guess I assume that's the worst thing you've ever eaten is cow balls.
I believe so. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, dude. Wow, that's pretty wild. And would that run you? How much they charge for that?
that wasn't bad. 8, $10, $2 a ball.
They got to get their ball game up. Oh,
Oh.
swing and a miss. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I couldn't. Oh, wow. All right. So on that note, real quick, eateries out here in Vegas. I personally like Mezzo Italian Eatery. Big fan of the Oyster Bar. Big fan
Uh-huh.
of Letitia's. Big fan of what's the other one we go to a lot? Nacho Daddy's really good. Pizza Rock. Where do you like to go?
You just took Pizza Rock from me. I love Pizza Rock. Pizza Rock's awesome. Metro Pizza, Taco y Taco. Have you ever eaten there?
No.
Highly recommend. Um, Ferraro's recently ate there actually with Ted Pretty. Ted Pretty and his wife invited
That's
us out. Yeah. So, I mean, God, there's so many great restaurants in town, and you go to any strip casino, and the restaurants in those places now are just, I mean, it's world class. I mean, Las Vegas has become a world class food city on top of everything else. It's like, the one thing we were always lacking was sports, and now we've become a world class sports city basically overnight. I mean, it's
And
crazy.
look at the Aviators ballpark. It's beautiful. It's a minor league.
Right.
Look at that thing. It's cool. We go there. It's beautiful. Me and the
Oh
wife
God,
go.
yeah.
It's great. Great time.
Yeah, and that Formula One race, which I don't know anything about Formula One. I've seen it on TV, and I've just flipped right through it because, like that race that's going to be here later this year is going to be insane. I mean, they're talking it's going to generate over $1 billion in Las Vegas, and it's just these super wealthy people who can afford these super wealthy lifestyles are all going to come here and watch this race for 3 hours and drop a shitload of money. It's like great, awesome.
It's thriving out here, man. I was watching the news, as a matter of fact, the numbers that are coming into these casinos,
Oh yeah.
revenues are just insane.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, what was it, the last quarter going into the new year? Jeez, man. And I gotta admit, business where I'm at, it's been good. I mean, I'm
Good.
entirely booked. I
Mm-hmm.
barely have any, and I'm thankful. We always say knock on wood, and this is a strong, strong community. Like we fought through a lot of shit, and
Oh yeah.
look at us. We're everywhere you go. You go out in Vegas right now. I'm about to leave for work in a little while. When I go out, there's people
Mm-hmm.
out there hustling, grinding, working their ass off.
Oh
24,
yeah. It's
24.
pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure you saw and maybe even did it when all the casinos were shut down,
Mm-hmm.
and like that bike ride. A lot of people were riding their bikes down the strip because there was no cars, there was no traffic, there
Yeah,
was no anything, and it was just this eerie image of Las Vegas. And I know at the time everybody was, and people said it, Vegas can never bounce back. Vegas will never bounce back
yeah.
from this. And of course, we were the first city to bounce back from it because people needed an outlet. People wanted to come and play. They wanted to forget about COVID for 10 minutes and have a good time. And yeah, I mean, our numbers are just shooting right back up and past where they were before.
It's a great thing. And to those listening from Vegas and just around the world, wherever you're listening, all those that are out there that fought through this, and went through hell doing it, I
Mm,
got to say that, we're all thankful that you're out here doing it and continue doing it. And much respect and praise and big ups and love to everyone that went through this and came
yeah.
out stronger and is still thriving to survive, man. Like, big up to everyone that's doing it. Mad respect.
Mhm.
And mad respect to you for coming on today, man.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I'll
Thanks for
send you
having
a
me
text
on.
in a little bit, bro. I'm glad
All
you
right.
had a wonderful time.